A Giants podcast for Giants fans
by Giants fans.
It's Shaun Morash.
On the sideline, into the end zone. Touchdown, Giants!
From the offseason through the wins and the losses, it's time to take one Giant step.
All right, welcome into One Giant Step, a game preview edition, a happy Thanksgiving edition. I'm Shaun Morash, Bryce Gelman with me as well. Remember, you can download and subscribe free on the Audacy App, free, and everywhere podcasts are available. First, before we get into the madness that will be Giants-Patriots, the Joe Judge revenge game, potentially. Bryce, a happy Thanksgiving to you. You ready to chow down? You one of those weirdos that doesn't eat turkey? What's up with you?
Well, happy Thanksgiving to you as well, Shaun, and I'm a huge turkey guy. Love turkey, and not only on Thanksgiving, 3-4 days after, because leftovers are the best. There's nothing like Thanksgiving leftovers, Shaun. Nothing like it.
Oh, it's great. Little rye bread, little hot pressed, and a panini maybe. Oh, humana. What's even better than that is a high draft pick. And let's just start here before we get into, will the Giants continue to play good football? Was that just a product of Washington? They're playing another bad team that's right there in terms of, drafting with the New York Giants. Both teams sitting in the top 5 right now. Seth Walder tweet last night really piqued my interest as we celebrate Thanksgiving between the Giants and Patriots. A chance to earn a top 2 draft pick in the draft, depending on this game. If the Patriots win the game, they will have a 9% chance at a top 2 pick. They lose the game, they'll have a 38% chance at a top 2 pick. Our G-men, if they were to win this game and get the 4 wins, they would only have an 11% chance at a top 2 pick. If they lose this game, they would jump up to a 47% chance at a top 2 pick. So here's the dilemma.
Gotta lose.
Here's the dilemma. And Giant fans get angry about Bryce. Giant fans get angry about
I know.
this. There's some fans that get it.
I don't get it. I don't understand. For whatever reason, the indignance in New York is always running high among the fans who just refuse to admit the fact the team isn't good enough to win and shouldn't win.
And since we last spoke, or since I at least hammered out a post-podcast, Zach Wilson with the Jets has now been benched. He's done for with the Jets. And before anybody starts screaming and yelling and tells me what do the Giants have to do with the Jets, in most cases, you're right? Like, we compare teams for no reason. And here's where it does have something to do with it. The Jets winning that game versus the Rams 3 years ago. One more game that they won.
Exactly.
Is why they are in the predicament of hell they are in right now. They did not get Trevor Lawrence. If they had Trevor Lawrence, we might be talking about the Jets as a Super Bowl team right now. So it's seeing the forest through the trees. And yes, I am conflicted just like many of you who might be listening. When I sit down to watch the Giants on Sunday, and maybe, just maybe, if I had the stones to watch a game by myself, but I always have to watch, my dad, my sister, it's a tradition. A tradition in the Morash house. If I had the stones to watch a game by myself, maybe I'd outwardly could do it. I can't actually in-game root for a loss, but I root harder for a win. I root less hard for a win. But the bottom line is this, man. You could get a top 2 pick at 3 and whatever. That's what was fine about winning Washington. You start rattling off a couple wins in a row and you beat a team like this that directly impacts picking in front of you. This game is far more important to lose than the Washington game. However, they stink. The Patriots stink, and I'm worried they stink less. So I am so conflicted on this Thanksgiving on what's going to happen. Now, people want to keep bringing up Chase Young and Andrew Thomas and how that benefited the Giants. You're right. However, we're talking about a pass rusher versus an offensive lineman. We're not talking about a potentially elite quarterback. Now, we also understand that those aren't the only 2 quarterbacks, Drake May and Caleb Williams, in this draft, and there are other ones. However, even if, let's say, Joe Shane really loves Jaden Daniels, or I'm not a Bo Nix guy, loves Bo Nix, or Michael Penix, even if he really does that, doesn't it behoove the Giants to have the highest possible pick to make sure that no matter what happens between now, the combine, whoever shoots up, that Joe Shane has this chance at his right guys? So, look, winning a game Sunday might feel good, might feel fun. But if in the end you have 4 wins instead of 3 wins and it costs you a decade of success, like the Jets are dealing with this turmoil when suddenly you're trading for guys like Kyler Murray down the line. Like this is what I just need to stress to Giant fans. Check your pride at the door about rooting for losses. Enough with this. I could never do that as a fan. You're rooting for your team's success. Success. You're not rooting
Exactly.
one Sunday. So yeah, I've turned around. It behooves the Giants to lose this game, Bryce. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and you mentioned the quarterback situation. Like, let's say they get 5, 6, or 7, and they want Drake May, and they have to trade up to get him. Then you're giving up a lot of assets. When we all know this team needs as many draft picks as possible to put them in the best place to contend in these coming years, because they
Right.
are not as talented as the top teams in the NFL. They're not as talented as San Francisco, as Philadelphia, as Dallas, and they won't be there in the next 1 to 2 to 3, maybe even 3 years. So they need as many draft picks as they can get. And if they find that they really like a quarterback and they need to trade up, they're going to be using a lot of those assets to get said quarterback. So again, we've been preaching this. I know I've been preaching this for a few weeks now, that I understand if you don't want to root for a loss. As a Giants fan, I understand that that's never been your thing. Don't do it. But don't be upset with the loss. Like understand the magnitude
Right.
of what a loss will be. And like I know it's well, the players are not gonna try hard, but there's no reason to tank. We are not a good team. The Giants franchise right now is in shambles. Right? They don't have the talent,
Yeah.
and they're starting a backup quarterback that may not start under center in the next 5 to 6 years after this year. So this is the perfect situation right now. You won your game against the Commanders. You got your moral victory out of the way. Now you can lose, and you need to lose this game against the Patriots.
You walked me right into the next part of this, which is the quarterback and touchdown Tommy. First of all, before we go any further, the idea that Tommy DeVito somehow has invented the drunken chicken parm. I don't know what you fake Italians from Jersey have been doing. I know on Long Island we've had chicken with vodka sauce for years and years and years. That's first and foremost. Second of all, I want to make sure that I'm not Monday morning quarterbacking this thing as best as possible. So it's all out here. It's all recorded on One Giant Step. We just spent the first portion of this pod pounding how important it is for a loss for a quarterback. I have now rewatched this game, and it felt good for Tommy DeVito in spots. I don't think Tommy DeVito played a very good football game on Sunday. I don't. I think that the Giants got 6 turnovers and needed every damn last one of them. I think Tommy DeVito did some good things. That throw to Saquon, both throws to Saquon. I mean, the Slayton throw, Slayton's wide open if you can't complete that as an NFL quarterback, and then he dances his way into the end zone. He wasn't an abomination, but holding onto the ball the way he did, you really see the difference, by the way. This isn't to bring it back to Daniel Jones because I think we're all kind of done there, but like all the talk about Daniel Jones creating his own sacks, that kind of went out the window when you saw how Tommy DeVito created his own sacks. It is not the same. Those guys are not the same at all. But with all that being said, where he got to 4 weeks ago with the Jets, not being able to throw a pass, to the next week with the Raiders where he comes in, he makes a little progress. Then Dallas, he has that last drive at the end, gets the Giants to 17. You have seen 4 weeks of Tommy DeVito improve and get those reps in practice. This is my long-winded way to say this. The best possible outcome for the New York Giants as a franchise, the best, and before you lose your mind, Bryce, understand that I understand that this is probably a 1% shot, is that Tommy DeVito becomes Brock Purdy and that Tommy DeVito becomes Tony Romo. Calm down. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying in the interest of the franchise, the best thing you could do is happen to accidentally stumble. By the way, you think the 49ers aren't kissing their feet because they freaking whiffed on Trey Lance? And I know Kyle Shanahan's system's a little different. The Cowboys didn't win a Super Bowl, and I don't love the guy, but they got a decade's worth of, playoff runs and everything else out of finding Tony Romo. That is so impossibly hard to do, and I'm not even mentioning the name Tom Brady. All I am saying is, if the Giants happen to get lucky here, and they win this game, the Packer game. I'm not even talking about the playoffs this year. I'm just saying where Tommy DeVito, you see in front of your eyes, like Brian Dable has figured out how to coach this guy. Like you said about building a team and building the assets and needing every last asset. I still think in the absolute best case scenario for this team is that Tommy DeVito happens to be that, because then you didn't use a high asset on a quarterback to replace Daniel Jones. I don't think that will happen, but that is the only conceivable outcome that can happen, where if you win this game, the Giants are in good shape.
Well, the good outcome if you win this game is that you have a serviceable backup going forward the next, let's say 5 to 8 years. Like Tommy DeVito's still young, and if he turns into a good backup, then the Giants won't have to go out and spend upwards of $5-6 million on a solid backup quarterback. I think that's the best conceivable outcome, because right now we're living in fantasy land if we think Tommy DeVito is this incredible steal and find, and he's going to be franchise quarterback. I know.
Can he be?
Yes. I mean, it's a fair question, because, there is like a 0.0002% chance that it's going to happen. But, as you've said, he's not a great quarterback. He didn't have a great game against the Commanders. The Commanders just don't know how to play defense against the New York Giants, which is just incredible to me. So I understand what you're trying to say. I get it. I see what's happening here, and I see what we're trying to do on this podcast. It's not going to happen. And the best case scenario is that he is a good backup in this league, and that would be great for the Giants, that they found this guy because their top 2 quarterbacks in the depth chart got hurt.
Yeah, and by the way, I guess you want him to play well enough to. This is like splitting the atom with DeVito. You want them to lose to the Patriots in theory for the best interest of the franchise. But you also don't want DeVito being an abomination where going into the bye, the Giants know they have to bring back Tyrod Taylor, which gives them a higher chance to beat teams like the Saints, the Packers, and the Rams too. So there's another part of this where it's such a balancing act where you kind of want Tommy DeVito to play well and they still lose, so that the team feels like they're still doing something here. It's just, the whole thing's incredible. It shows you, because teams don't actually tank and you have to root for it as a fan, how hard it is. It suddenly feels harder to lose games than it does to win games for the New York Giants this year from a fan's perspective.
It's a delicate situation, Shaun.
Totally. Sure. All right. With that, look, we've pounded the table here. You guys are all busy. You got shopping. You got eating to do. You got all this stuff going on. Let's get right to our game picks here, bro. Oh, we got to go at it. We got to go crazy here. Our fantasy versus reality segment, and then a game pick. I'm going to start it off, because it feels odd. It feels like we can go back to doing this segment and feel like, hey, maybe there's a fantasy play out there for the Giants because they can actually score. They scored some points last week. By the way, you were all about the Giant defense last week too, and boy, did they have themselves a day. Saquon found the end zone a couple times. I'm going to go back to the well on somebody I've pounded here. So last week, Slayton gets in the end zone. Hey, give me, in this kind of game, Daniel Bellinger, who finally had a big catch down the field last week. Think about the Patriots and the way a Patriot muck-it-up game goes. They're going to try to take away those wide receivers. That's going to be a Belichick decisive plan. This could be a big-time dump-off type of situation of Daniel Bellinger, and we're still waiting for Belly to get in the end zone there. I think Daniel Bellinger has a sneaky good game as tight end 1 for the Giants. The reality of this situation, for the Giants to win the game, the Patriots stink. Their defense can completely overwhelm whoever the Patriots are going to start at quarterback. The question, of course, becomes, what does Bill Belichick dial up versus Tommy DeVito, right? Like, Bill Belichick playing a rookie undrafted quarterback feels like he has something up his sleeve. He usually does in these scenarios. But on the flip side, can the Patriots offense even take advantage? So if the Giants want to win this game, I think, look, mistake-free football from DeVito, even if it's a lot of 3-and-outs, don't turn the ball over. And I think you're going to get a turnover or 2 versus the Patriots, which is going to lead me to my game pick. Bryce, we just did a whole thing on tanking. I think the Giants are going to end up winning this game, and I think they're going to win the game 13-10. I do. You want to talk about lack of talent? I just think they're more talented, and I think even if Belichick really stifles DeVito, I think the Giant defense right now, after last week's feeling themselves, and I just don't see how the Patriots move the ball. Very tight, very close, 13-10 Giant win.
I'm going to ride the hot hand here, Shaun. And I'm going to pick for the second week in a row as my fantasy play, the Giants defense. I only started them in one league like an idiot. I started the Lions in the other two leagues, which got me 6 points. Great, but I lost in 2 leagues because I started the Lions instead of the Giants. This game is going to go a lot like last week for the Giants defense. They're going to get to the quarterback. They're hopefully have a few takeaways because the Patriots offense is in complete disarray right now. They don't even have a starter name for Sunday.
Right.
They have no starter named. It could be Bailey Zappi, it could be Zach Wilson Jones, or it could be Malik Cunningham. Who knows at this point? So either way, no matter who they throw out there, it's not like they have any weapons on offense. Ramondre Stevenson has not been what he was last year. The Giants defense will have its way against the Patriots. Now, shifting to the game portion of this, whoever outlasts the other team will win this game. It's gonna be.
What are you, Hank Stram with the outlasting here? I mean, jeez.
You could whoever is able to score more points will win the game. No, but seriously, this game will come down to it's gonna be in the trenches. It's gonna be run heavy, and I do agree with you that the Giants will win this game. I just think the Giants will get more takeaways, and I think whoever gets more takeaways, whichever defense plays better, will win the game. Bill Belichick, defensive maestro, he's going to be drawing up some incredible defensive plays. Doesn't matter. Giants, as you said, are more talented. I have to agree with that sentiment. And I do think the Giants win this game. I think they win it. I know you said 13-10. That's my score from the Jets game. But I'm going to go 14. I'm going to go 14-10. I'm gonna go one above you.
Your Bryce is writing me?
Here. Yeah,
your Bryce is writing me?
Here's the thing. There aren't going to be many points scored in this game. You already went with the one score that I would have taken. Yeah. So I'm gonna one up you here, and hopefully the overhits, and I'll win.
All right, we kept a nice shorty for you this week. I know it's a very busy weekend. Thank you for sticking with One Giant Step. Enjoy the family. Enjoy the football. I guess enjoy rooting against the Cowboys and Jets on back-to-back days before we even get to Sunday. Why not? Screw their fans, too. Thanks to Bryce Gelman, of course. Thanks to Bryce Gelman for producing this, of course. Thanks to James for taking a vacation. And thank you to all of you for taking One Giant Step with us. Gobbledy gobble. Enjoy the food. Enjoy the family. Enjoy the football. Let's go, G-Men.